Who you fighting?
I'm against Dot.
Yeah,
Dot is gold. Okay, but yeah.
Also, that other nigga. Can you like lower your mic?
Lower your tone, huh? Lower your tone.
Be quiet. I'm not talking about you.
What is this? Wukong versus Gojo? Nigga, this is crazy.
This is crazy.
Also, my nigga, yo, nine, debate my nigga Penis Clapper 33 after they done.
What was that?
You see Penis Clapper 33 in VC, debate him after y'all done.
Why is that your name?
Debate.
All right.
Or something.
Do you want me to start or do you want to start?
Give me 1 second to just find a better restriction. Grab this. All right, you can hear me just fine, though, right?
Yeah.
All right, I guess it's here. Just say your premise, and then we'll get into starting everything.
My premise is simply that Wukong without hacks and outscale.
I got you. Okay. I think that the wins via the quality of tags or it's an inconclusive fight. Do you want to scuff it?
Via the what?
Via the quality of his hacks or it's an inconclusive fight.
Sure. I'll go first. Are you aware that Wukong reaches the state of Nirvana?
The state of Nirvana. What?
Yeah.
Nope.
Yes.
Okay. It's verbatim saying that Wukong is one of the 5 immortals that made it to Nirvana. Are you aware that when you reach a state Nirvana, you reach a state known as Atman?
Know nothing about Nirvana.
Okay. Alright, Atman is basically your universal self that is separate from the concept of individuality and things of that nature. Concepts such as life, death, and rebirth don't apply to things such as Sun Wukong or Nirvana, as those things are in samsara. When you bypass and transcend samsara, you reach Nirvana. When you reach Nirvana, you transcend Nirvana and you reach Atman, which is where this version of Sun Wukong is. And then when you reach a state, of Atman, obviously you are above things such as the concept of identification and things of that nature. Meaning, any ability, character, or things of that nature that are a part of the concept of identification or individuality are all weaker and don't scale to that of, obviously Sun Wukong.
Yeah. Quick question. It's like not related to your scaling. Do you agree? Like, okay, in a versus battle specifically, if we're taking the cross verse situations, the like verse that they function on is like put into like a hypothetical versus battle where like I don't know background and step place, but all the verse equalization of what their hacks and abilities are contributed to the hypothetical.
You said what?
Okay, yeah. Gojo and Wukong fight in this like hypothetical versus battle. Their hacks, abilities, manifestation, physicality, attributes, anything, right? In their own respective criteria come along in this hypothetical versus battle. Do you agree to that?
I don't know what you mean by hypothetical versus battle.
Yeah, because it's not real. It's like a hypothetical versus battle that's set from like
but what are you talking about? Their physical stat. What do you mean by that?
Yeah, they all just come into action if we can like acquire reasoning upon belief. Like if I say Gojo has like impossibility inducement and I construe that into this hypothetical versus battle, he's obviously gonna have that in his own narrative of that hypothetical versus battle, right?
I think if you were to prove he has that within his narrative and within his series, then sure.
Yeah, that's fine. Okay, yeah. That's fine. That's all.
Okay.
Just summarize the argument that you're trying to give again. Like, just
he reaches Nirvana. Nirvana reaches Atman there, and Atman is above the concept of identification and individuality. Therefore, any character that is subjective to their concept of identification and individuality is below that of Wukong.
Yeah, sure. I don't think that buys for Gojo. That's fine.
Okay.
All right, you want me to scale first? Scale second, my fault.
Yeah, of course. Go scale.
Gotcha. Fame is
Are y'all cool with me moderating as well as judging?
Yeah, I think that's fine.
Alright.
Centralities of alright, see it?
You said
Oh, shit,
what?
hold up one second.
There's no way, bro.
Alright,
That
you hear me, Tempest?
yeah,
Because I'm doing something. You hear me?
yeah. Go on with your argument.
My fault. Yeah. Alright. The scan that I sent basically like the bottle panel of it. Right, by amplifying the limitless things such as natural negative numbers and impossible situations like -1 and opposite manifest. I think Gojo just completely breaks the law of non-contradiction here because he's making illogical situations born.
How is this an illogical situation?
He's making a coexisting stage of contradictory inferences coexist at the same time whenever they're contradictory.
Yeah. How is this the case? You're just saying it is the case. How is this the case?
I got you. So if you know to put something to like negative numerical fashion, it's to subtract or seize the previous form of existence from it, right?
Why is this the case?
If you was to subtract the number 3 minus 2, what happens to 3?
You said what?
If you was to subtract the number 3 minus 2, what happens to 3? It's no longer there anymore.
Sure. You tell me.
Okay, so if you put something in a negative numerical fashion, which is subtraction and identification, saying that Gojo makes this thing coexist in existence and non-existence at the same time whenever it's numerical, non-numerical. My fault, numerical negative. It's just non-existent.
Yeah, that's not what Gojo is doing at all.
I mean, he explains it.
No, it's verbatim explained. All it says, the reason I decided to go with natural negative numbers instead of negative numbers is because I can explain it with an excuse. Anyone can try to discredit the logic, which is end up saying whatever since it's made up. So it's made up. It's not actual things. Anyways, even hold on. Even Akutami says that in this manner, when counting, no person exists who can reach the end. Right? For no reason, one could say that natural negative number series don't exist, but no one can count it all because it's full of excuse. Yeah. So what he's doing isn't making it so negative numbers both exist and non-exist at the same time. You haven't fulfilled your burden to prove that.
I said he making it to exist. It was already at a state of non-existence before.
Okay, why does that mean they're happening at the same time?
Because if it's still in non-existence while it's getting accumulated into existence,
you're arguing it's still in non-existence. Why is it in non-existence?
Because it's negative.
Why does that mean that negative numbers are non-existent?
And I said whenever something is put into negative numerical fashion, it's simply to seize or subtract from it. And I gave you the analogy of 3 minus 2. If you subtract 2 from 3, 3 is no longer there because it ceases to exist at that point.
I don't. Yeah, I think that's only within your. I think that's only within your analogy. I don't think that's a general thing.
So do you think?
I think in essence that negative numbers are a case because that means that, like, for example, 9 is saying negative numbers don't exist in essence, which this isn't true.
You think negative numbers do exist because in the
essence, I think negative numbers do exist in essence. Yes, and existence by definitions are just things that correspond to reality. And we know that negative numbers do exist within reality. Unless you're gonna say you're right.
No. Okay, the whole point of that is that the limitless puts it forth into reality as a physicality anomaly, not just simply a conceptual anomaly.
Okay, so why does that mean that it doesn't exist? You're like, what?
Because you can't. Yeah, sure. Because if you was to put a building, right, and that building is negative, it ceases to exist at that point in time. If you accumulate it to exist,
I think that's disanalogous.
How's that disanalogous? It's perfectly
because when it comes
wait, hold up, Tempest, 1 second.
You just asked me how is that disanalogous.
It was rhetorical. It was a rhetorical.
No, it wasn't rhetorical because I'm actually telling you that you disagree.
Second line of accumulation.
That can't be a rhetorical question if it's in tandem to my argument. That cannot be rhetorical.
It's not in tandem. What?
Yes,
it's in tandem to my argument, not yours.
You're asking me, Tempest, how is this the case when I'm refuting your argument? You asking me a question on how this is the case not be rhetorical.
So just let me explain. Let me explain why this is.
Go ahead.
Yeah, it's disanalogous because you're using buildings in reference to numbers, which by essence don't have any correlation, which is one. That's the first reason why it's disanalogous. Secondly, the reason why it's disanalogous is because things such as negative buildings just aren't the case. When it comes to negative buildings, it's a thing that just buildings don't exist. When it comes to negative numbers do exist because we know that negative numbers, for example, a negative times a negative is a positive, which is what he uses to make, reverse curse technique. So we know they do exist, right? And they don't actually non-exist. They're not non-existent. They are existent. So he's not bringing something into existence or into reality. That's not what he's doing.
Okay, I think he is by the analogy he even gives. If you look at the very bottom panel, and by an
Yes, I've read hidden inventory.
I wasn't done. Okay, yeah. So if you look at the very bottom, and impossible situations like -1 apples manifest. So in this case, it's perfectly analogous to give the comparison against a building because it's negative. It sees that existence in point of time. If you're accumulating into existence at that point in time, it's contradictory inferences now. So it's illogical frameworking. The analogy goes hand to hand because he literally brings things forth in like analogous or analogical ways of arguing. He brings all things forms into reality that he could think of probably.
By amplifying this limitless things such as natural negative numbers in impossible situations like -1 apples manifest. Yeah, I don't think. Yeah, he's not bringing anything into reality, dude, at all.
Well,
I think. Yeah,
no,
I think I
it is because in the Jogo fight, we even referenced the whole point of ability.
you just cut out. I don't know what. Like, your mic is low. You're muffled. What are you saying?
Hello, you can hear me now. Hello.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that wouldn't be the case that you're saying, oh, you don't think it's going to bring forth into reality because the whole point of the limitless is to bring one, the foundationalized subject of the limitless, and two, the supplementary things from the limitless and forth into reality. We see it whenever he references in the fight with Jogo. He literally says, the infinity was naturally there. I just bring it forth into reality. So that's already he puts things forth into reality.
No, all he's saying.
I guess.
Oh my god, no! It's not like an imaginative thing known as infinity. The infinity is already there, as he verbatim states. All he does is bring it into physicality and by physical means. That's all he's doing.
So you would agree to me then, Tempest? That's my whole point. He's bringing it in.
No, because what I'm saying is I don't think that physical things qualify for the foundation of what existence is. That's what I'm saying. Someone bringing something in a physical manifestation or nature is not the same thing as them bringing it into existence entirely.
I'm sorry,
you would need to prove that.
You're gonna have to repeat that. I didn't hear.
I said someone bringing something into a physical manifestation is not the same thing as bringing that thing into general existence.
Okay. One, I believe that is the same thing because general existence. Okay, if we recall, general existence basically implies like a cognitive biasness, I guess you could say. So it would kind of be like a sense of objectivity in a way, right? If you're bringing something forth as physicality terminology, that's bringing it forth into objective existence. One, it's conceivable based off like empiricalism, and two, you can interact with it. At that point, it's subjective as well.
You said what?
Oh yeah, okay, sure. I think I got you, Tempest. Right? All right. The whole point about this is that one, I do think he's bringing it into general reality. Do you think humans are in general reality, real quick, Tempest? Before I continue this.
Why does this matter?
Because if something is going to be like a physicality or interaction or bi-state product, this simply means that they can be interactable via other physicality means. At that point, based off terminology,
I don't think.
By that point, other terminology things that we have inferences to deduce here would just imply that it's objectivity as a whole. So he's objectively bringing things into reality.
No,
the same with
there's a difference. I said that bringing something into a physical manifestation is not the same thing as bringing something into general existence.
Yes,
because we know that I'm not done. If you don't want me to cut you off, then don't do the same. I'm not done. Anyways, as I was saying, you would need to prove that physicality is a general form of existence. Because a general form of existence are general things that do exist. Like,
yes.
Do you not understand the difference?
Wait. Okay.
Let me give you this.
I don't need the enlightenment for the difference.
Let me give you this in layman's terms, right?
Go ahead.
You're saying that the reason why he's bringing things into reality is because he's materializing the aspect of infinity between the said people, right? I'm saying that he's not, because in case, okay, I'm not going to keep repeating everything to you. So if the judge heard it, if the judge wants to give it back,
iPhone. I got reception issues. I just need you to repeat the first sentence.
For the clarity of the debate, can you just repeat it?
Yeah, I got it. In the sense of what you're arguing because he's materializing the said aspect of infinity. He's there bringing it forth into reality. Yet, what I'm saying is no, that is not what he is doing because you're trying to argue that materialism, or in this case, physicality, is the general notion of existence, which is what I'm saying he's not doing because we know that there are different aspects of existence and what existence is, which means that physicality cannot be the general form of existence, and it means that all forms of existence, which would be denoted as general existence. So no, he's just bringing, right? He's just bringing the idealistic notion of what infinity is as a physical concept. That's all he's doing. He's not contradicting the law of non-contradiction within philosophy. That's not what he's doing. It doesn't. It doesn't. I'm not done. I'm not done. It doesn't exist and non-exist at the same time. That is not what infinity is. Even if you're not arguing across for saying that's not what infinity is within Jujutsu Kaisen.
Yeah. Okay. I'll attack the first point. So the three levels of the.
All he does is cut. He's literally just cutting half the space between the people, which gives birth to a fictitious derivative. That's what it is.
I wasn't arguing. Okay. One Tempest. I wasn't arguing the limitless. I was arguing supplementary things from the limitless, such as red, hollow, purple, and blue. So it's not just the limitless. The whole point of the limitless is to amplify other supplementary things, or you just control the foundationalized archive of the limitless. I'll attack the existence part now. Okay. So yes, I think deeming qualities such as bringing something to a physicality existence brings up the general notion of that thing, such as the three forms of existence. You should be aware: physicality, conceptual, and telepathy. Do you understand that?
I don't think those are the only forms of
I said the three main.
Existence. I don't think those are the three main at all.
Okay, look at the three main forms on Google then, or do you want me to show you?
Why do I need to appeal to Google?
I mean, you don't have to. It just gives you a sense of like epistemological awareness of it now.
Okay, this is
instead of like arguing, are you gonna go on to argue?
No, just finish your argument.
Yeah, sure. So that's the three. Yeah, I got you. So that's the three construed levels of existence that are main foundationalized. This simply means. Hold up, give me 1 second, Tempest. What? No, nigga, go. No. Shut your fat ass up, you fat nose bitch. I'll slap the fuck out you, you whole ass nigga. Get the fuck out. Shut up, nigga. Go. I'm debating, you fat bitch. Get out.
Hey,
what does this nigga want? Go. You not using my card? Yeah, nigga. All right. My fault. I'm back. All right. Well, the three levels of existence. Yeah. Nigga, Mike, get the fuck out. I'm gonna backhand the fuck out you. Back out.
Damn, Mike.
Nigga, shut the fuck my dick, you big-headed bitch. I don't give a fuck. Hop out. Go use Darian. Go finger Darian booty hole or something. You fruity ass nigga. Oh, can't go. You fruity ass shit. You shit in your drawers. You nigga stink, nigga. You stink as fuck. All right, I'm back. I'm sorry. All right, I'm back. I'm sorry about that. The three levels of existence. The three levels of existence. All right, yeah. That's like me. Tempest, shut up, nigga. Let me finish. Nigga, let me just finish. Okay. All right. Nigga's not. I'm gonna be laughing the whole fucking time. All right, yeah. Let me get this right. All right. The three levels of existence, right? So, based off what I know, it's conceptual telepathy. Alright, so if we bring things forth into like a physicality, like means, right? If we have interactional state with these things, we're obviously gonna think before we do. Do you disagree with that?
Can you repeat that, Doc?
Yeah. Okay. So if we have like true deeming qualities of what's physical, like a physical anomaly, or just simply a physicality interaction, we would obviously think before we do. So if we was going to interact with this thing that's physical, we would think of what that thing is first. At that point, it would just be a conceivable notion, which would generalize the idea of other ideas. And there's no other notions to like go against it, at least, I would say.
What does this have to do with your argument? With the non-contradiction, that's what you're arguing.
Yeah, okay. I was arguing like the first point of the three levels of existence. So if something like the whole point, if something's bringing forth into like physicality, I believe that's going to be like a true dimming quality of like the general consensus of general notion ideas. So that point exists on like all three levels of existence, I guess. But the whole point of the non-contradiction is that Gojo just manifests non-existence by giving the analogy or analogical way of arguing by saying, "Oh, negative one apples manifest." And I gave multiple analogies with this. I said the subtraction of 3 minus 2. If you subtract 3 minus 2, you no longer have 3. And then I gave the building analogy. If you have a negative 1 building, the building is non-existence. It's not there. But if you was going to accumulate it into existence while it's still at like a negative state, then you're just breaking the entirety of the law. This is also backed up how Gojo's via like able to do impossible situations and make them possible.
Okay. Firstly, he's never shown anything that makes Gojo do any impossible things that bring them into possibility. Secondly, I've said it multiple times that just because these are negative numbers doesn't mean that they are non-existent. Negative numbers do exist in essence, and they do exist concretely. Concrete things are things that exist and are true within reality. Truth by itself is things that within the truth by itself or truth by definition is things that correspond to reality. True in essence. Negative numbers are true in essence. I stated verbatim that just because I bring something into a physical state doesn't mean I'm bringing them into reality. I think even if you use your regular common sense of the real world, I know for a fact you would say that, yes, this is what's happening. And because it's not in a physical state doesn't mean that I'm bringing it into reality. Those are two different things. Bringing something into reality is bringing something into concrete existence. Abstraction is a form of concrete existence. All he's doing is bringing it from one plane of existence to another. He's bringing the preconceived notion of infinity and then bringing it into the physical conceived notion of infinity. That is all he is doing. He's
Okay,
not switching it.
I got one question. Why is abstraction a concrete form of existence and physicality not?
That's not what I said. I didn't
So
even
is,
start that.
so is physicality like a concrete existence or not? Because you said abstraction.
Physicality is a concrete existence. Yes.
Okay, so he has objectivity and physicality. That's fine. That's the whole point of my argument anyway. If he has a concrete form of existence and like a physicality mean, then this just simply means if he's bringing things forth into reality. Also, I don't know why you bring up the numerical fashion. I'm arguing like non-numerical senses in here, such as negative one apple. So I'm not arguing just like negative
even
one
if you were
number.
to even if you were to argue in non-numerical fashion, that's like it. My argument still follows.
No. The non-numerical. I wasn't like saying like non-numerical.
We can just leave it to Maji. I don't feel like
I want
listening
to
to
clear.
your
I want
big
to clarity
words.
one thing. I want to clarity one thing real quick. All right, then we can leave it to Machi. So my whole point goes like this. I wasn't arguing just simply like a negative one apple bringing in force into.
I know that.
Hold on, wait. No,
Dude, I don't. Why do I need to listen to something I already know?
no.
What's
I'm
the
just
point of
clarity
that?
for Maji. I'm just clarity for Maji.
How do you know Manji? How do you know Manji doesn't
It's
understand?
just clarity from my part. If I don't think Maji understands, then obviously I'm gonna give clarity to it. Same with you, Tempest.
Oh my lord, bro.
There's no point of questioning it if I don't think he already understands. Like I'm not saying he doesn't, but I'm just giving clarity to it.
Bro, when you're done, someone can pay me, bro.
I got you. All right, yeah. So my whole point goes like this. I'm not arguing like a negative one number is bringing flux into reality. I'm arguing that a negative one manifestation of a physicality mean, right? Such as a negative one apple is brought forth into reality. If I recall, Tempest's contentions against that was just simply saying, oh, this is not a general notion of reality, which one, it doesn't matter if he's bringing forth into like a general occupied notion, such as abstraction or physicality. He agreed that physicality is objective in its own sense. At that point, if he's bringing like physicality means of negative one apples into reality, then he's making the contradictory inferences coexist, such as negative, which we already clarity this. If it's put into like a building framework or something that has a somewhat embodiment of physicality, then it would just simply be that it's non-existent. He also like I cleared that many times, right? And that's the whole point with Gojo's analogy, right? He just gives it into reality. So that's what I think. That's basically what I want to say. I'll add Tempest now. How does this help Gojo beating Wukong?
All right. Anyways, since you, I guess, gave clarification, I'll give clarification. Manji, are you listening?
Yeah.
Okay. So you know how Okay, so he already agreed to Sun Wukong being above the concept of identification individuality, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So you heard the clarification, so I don't need to clarify his argument, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, what I'm saying is, from not just a Jujutsu Kaisen standpoint, but from a common sense standpoint, yes, physicality is a concrete form of existence. No one's denying that. I'm not going to rap. However, that is different from bringing something into reality because he never argued against my definition for reality. Reality and things that exist within are just things that correspond to something to the aforementioned thing that being reality. That is what truth is. All he's doing is being the preconceived idealistic notion of infinity to the preconceived physical materialistic notion of infinity. That's not bringing something into reality. Whether you use numeric things or via you use his own example, that is not bringing something from out of reality in. That does not even violate the law of non-contradiction either, which posits that something cannot exist and not exist at the same time, or have the contradictory version of its said attributes at the same time as having the non-contradictory version of its attributes. We can just leave that to Monty. I just clarified my argument. I didn't make a new argument.
I mean, I kind of heard a new argument, but it's fine.
All right, so y'all done?
I mean, we can make conclusions now if you want, Tempest.
What was that?
Well, I gave clarity, you gave clarity. That's not really conclusions.
I mean, Manji, do you need conclusions, bro?
I mean, you can go ahead if you feel the need to. You can go ahead.
Do you feel the need to, Tempest?
No, and I dead ass don't want to hear any of your big word blabber.
You use bigger words than I have. You use materialism and materialistic. It's like some of the biggest words that are like out of like word frames for most of the people in here. You could just use physicality, but it's fine. I'll give my conclusion since Tempest doesn't want to say his. So my conclusion goes like this. It's very simple. I think I won this debate via I was gonna attack Tempest's argument and like I said, I think he brings up a new argument, but I'll just argue upon what I implied. So yeah, my whole point of the physicality being quality statehood is that if there's
hold on, Doc. Yo, Tempest, can you mute your mic real quick?
Yeah, I'm sorry, bro.
You're straight. So yeah, my whole argument goes like this. So like obviously what I was implying by the physicality, like bringing it forth into reality, is that there are different like inferences of putting things forth into reality. I don't know if Tempest would agree to this, but I'll just add on, right? So they got abstraction, which is like necessarily like conceptual kinda, or just non-physical. They got materialism or materialistic, which is simply physicality, where you can have an interactional bi-state product with it, right? And then they got telepathy, which is kind of mind control, which conceptual archive and conceptual wisdom is sort of different. Archive is going to be like foundationalized, and wisdom is just going to be like perceivable notions, right?
Nigga did not bring this up during the debate.
No, I said I was implying what I was arguing.
What? Bro.
This would be what I'm arguing, would it not? I'm arguing physicality being true. Wait, hold on. I want to ask
I'm not even talking to you. I'm just talking to you.
Because I wanted to clarify my implication. If I'm arguing physicality,
you be quiet?
Okay. Go ahead, Tempest.
Are you gonna like let him do that or conclude over the things that were mentioned in the debate, bro?
I just said I was gonna.
I'm not speaking to you, bro.
So Tempest, he said he was going over what he implied in the debate, right? And he did bring up the three levels of existence. So like that was the implication he gave in the debate.
The implication just was like
just finish, bro.
Sure. So yeah, if physicality is one of these levels of existence, it's bringing forth into reality by one of the inferences. I'm not arguing abstraction or telepathy. I'm arguing physicality. So by definitions of what we think to like bring things forms into existence, it would just bring it into existence by physicality means. Which one? I never argued the general occupant of like general notion, right? I said I could, but I wouldn't, right? And I think I went down the path of arguing upon it. And the whole point of my scaling goes like this. Gojo is bringing something that is subtraction of -1 building in analogy, or -1 apples in this case, manifest and born into reality. Then I brought up the case of whenever he fights
Nigga, hurry up.
Then I brought up the case whenever he fights Jogo, right? It's basically stated that the limitless thing is always there, and I just bring things forth into reality, right? And after, I just argue that if Gojo's making something accumulate into reality whenever it's at a statehood of non-existence, right, such as physicality non-existence, you can't put it forth into existence of physicality quality, right, because it's non-existence as in subtraction. You're subtracting from it, or it's just negative in fashion, right? And then I'm arguing he's accumulating that in physicality means by putting it forth to existence while it's still at the negative statehood. at that point, I think it just breaks the law of non-contradiction because he's basically making contradictory inferences coexist at the same time. But yeah, that's my conclusion. And since Tempest didn't want to state a conclusion, you could just give judgment.